In this video, I'm going to go over two issues that you may encounter if you upgrade an older computer to Windows 10. Now, I've upgraded a computer that was fairly new that came with Windows 8.1 to Windows 10, and I had no issues with that one. The computer that I'm on right now is about 6 years old, and it came with Windows 7. And I had a couple of issues that I attribute to Windows 10. That is when I upgraded to Windows 10, because I didn't have these issues before. And one of them was the screen, the computer screen would shift either to the left or to the right, so I couldn't see my icons, and sometimes you'd have trouble surfing the web because you'd have to move the browser and so forth. So it got a little bit tedious to deal with. And now the obvious thing to do, at least for example on a desktop, is to use the menu it has. So this desktop has a menu you can access with buttons on the bottom right of the monitor, and I'm going to do that. I don't know if you'll be able to see this on the screen, but I click on the button and the menu pops up. Hopefully you can see it. If not, it's no big deal. But anyway, if I push the button next to the menu, to the word menu, I have several options there. There's some arrows there, up, down, so if I hit the button corresponding to the down arrow, this one, I got it down to where it says auto adjust. So it says, to the right of that, it says press the check mark to adjust the screen automatically. So there's a little check mark over here on the side, so if I push the button to the right of that, it'll adjust the screen. So you can push it several times until you think the screen is centered, and then you're good to go, supposedly. Well, in my case, it kept shifting. Okay, I would adjust it, and then a couple of hours later it would move again to the right, to the left, and it continued. And then finally I figured this out. So what I did is I right click on the screen and go to display settings, and then down to advanced display settings. And then here on resolution, when you upgrade to Windows 10, by default, it puts it on 1920 and 1080, which is recommended, and that's what it was when I first upgraded. But evidently my computer, because of the age of the system, couldn't handle that. So I went to 1600 1024. I didn't even try the 1600 1200. I kind of just skipped it accidentally, and then I went to 1600 by 1024, and it worked. Okay, so I went ahead and set it on that, and then of course you click apply. I'm not changing it, I'm leaving it where it was. So you would click on apply, and that did it. Okay, so what I recommend if you're having that kind of issue is go ahead and center your screen using the menu on the side of your monitor there, and then change the resolution, and try the second one or the third one. I tried the third one down, and see which one works. This one worked fine with me. Okay, so hopefully you can figure out which one you're going to use. Now the next issue that I had when I upgraded this computer to Windows 10 is everything was working okay, but initially what happened was I would turn it on, and it would, like it was booting and so forth, and then it would just the Windows logo would come on, and then it would just freeze. So I would wait and wait, and nothing. So then eventually I would just hold the power button down about 5 seconds, turn it off, and then power it back on, and it would work fine after that. Kind of like it had to get warmed up first. Okay, so for a while I said, well, maybe with some of the upgrades it'll take care of that. but a few days went by and again I had to do that every day. So then I did a little bit of research, and what I did was this. I went to the menu over here on the lower right corner of the monitor, where they give you notifications and so forth. Okay, and here at the bottom right it says all settings. You can also access this menu via the start menu, so there's different ways to get to this. And then here I went to system here, and I'm actually going to power. So system, click on this, and then on the left over here, power and sleep, click on that, go to the next menu, and then over here on the right bottom, additional power settings. And then on this one on the left side, choose what the power buttons do. So click on that, and then here's what happens when you upgrade to Windows 10. By default, look at the bottom over here, your computer is set to start to fast startup. So notice here at the bottom where I have turn on fast startup recommended. Okay, this would have a check mark. When I first upgraded the computer to Windows 10, this had a check mark here. So what happens, in my opinion, is the computer, because it was 6 years old, couldn't handle that fast startup. So it had to get like warmed up. So that's why I would start it and I would have to turn it off and then turn it back on. So what I did is I unchecked this. Okay, so what you would do is at the top over here, go to change settings that are currently unavailable. So you would click on this. And then at the bottom, again, when I first did this, where it has turn on fast startup recommended, this had a check mark on it. So I didn't want this. I was going to test it first. I didn't know at first what would happen, but I went ahead and unchecked this. And then at the bottom here, then I would click on save changes. Okay, so uncheck this, and of course it's already done because I've already done this, but yours would have a check mark if you're having issues. So I would uncheck it and then save changes, and that close it. And then when I would turn power on the computer initially, I had no issues. So for the last several weeks and so forth, it's been working fine. And I was real frustrated at first. I do want to point out though that I did upgrade a newer computer, as I mentioned earlier, to Windows 10, and I had no issues with that. Everything was okay. So if you're upgrading from Windows 8 or 8.1 and it's a fairly new computer, no more than a few years old, you probably won't have these issues. But on an older computer, these are two things that I had, and I also had friends that had the same thing, and I was able to help them. So I hope this helps you if you're having these issues. And again, remind you that this is helping you. Please subscribe. My main focus in this channel, my main expertise is mathematics. So I basically have mathematics tutorials. So if you need any help with math, post any suggestions you have. I also have another channel that you can look at by just going to the introductory video and checking on that link, and we'll see you in the next video.